Dear flight students and followers, welcome to our series called The Toughest 5. Our mission is to help you succeed by showcasing how to solve the most challenging ATPL questions. In each episode, Fabian and I will go over the 5 most difficult and frequently commented on questions from each subject in the ATPL-Q database.
We understand how tough these exams can be, and we want to support you in overcoming these challenges by breaking down each question using sketches, easy tools, and highlighting nasty traps and incorrect answers to show you how well you can prepare for your theoretical ATPL exam and boost your confidence in doing so.
We will use ATPL-Q, which is best known among flight students as it is designed to be the perfect addition to studying the theory. With one of the largest up-to-date question databases, detailed explanations, and a thriving comment section for each question, ATPL-Q is the tool to prepare you for your upcoming theory exam. So do yourself a favor, reduce your anxiety, get access using the link below, then study with us, pass your exam, and take the next step towards becoming a pilot. The following questions will be from the EASA ATPL database, subject Airlaw. So pay attention, we'll give you 3 seconds to pause the question on the screen to test your knowledge and your solving strategy before we start with the explanation. Fabian and I are here to create yeah buddy moments with you. You'll see in a minute. So sit back and enjoy the ride, grab a pen and paper, and let's get started.
Answer A and C can't be correct, because if we look at this table out of the Sailor chapter about VMC minima right here, it states that according to the general distance from clouds, you need to have 1,500 meters horizontally and 300 meters vertically in all airspaces. So answer A and C don't apply here. Be careful, because they try to trick you with 1,000 meters vertically, but it's actually 1,000 feet, which is roughly 300 meters.
For answers B and D, we have to take a look at the exceptions stated for airspaces Fox and Golf. Now, although we are within the altitude band of 3,000 feet above main sea level up to flight level 100, we do only have a height of 700 feet above ground level. We therefore fall into the last row, which states that we need to be free of clouds and with the surface in sight as long as we are below 3,000 feet AMSL or below 1,000 feet AGL, whichever is higher. Now, whichever is higher can also be interpreted as whichever reaches higher, meaning that although the upper boundary of the AMSL restriction is 3,000 feet, the AGL restriction, which is 1,000 feet above ground, so 2,800 feet, the given ground elevation plus 1,000 feet boundary accumulates to 3,800 feet AMSL. So it can only be answer D. We hope that makes sense. The tricky one here is whichever is higher. Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, buddy.
Okay.
Okay, this question actually makes it a little easier for you. What we mean by that is that although holdings are flown using magnetic heading, the question states that you are flying on track 050, so you can neglect any wind components.
We advise you to draw a little sketch. Draw a dot in the middle of your page. That's going to be Charlie Lima Echo VOR. Now draw a little plane in the southwest of the VOR with a track line going towards the VOR on 050. Now use your right thumb, because you are going to fly right turns in the holding, and place it into a 90 degrees to your track line. Now draw a line above your thumb, which is 20 degrees less, towards your plane, and continue the line through your plane. Now you have to divide your compass rose into 3 sectors. Here, here, and here. Now the sector above your thumb is the teardrop entry. Opposite your thumb is the parallel, and the one below your thumb is the direct entry sector. Now the question states you shall fly 270 inbound to the VOR. To determine the entry, you need to place the reciprocal course of 270 into your sketch. So the reciprocal course of 270 is 090, which is in the teardrop entry sector.
Yes, it is a little confusing. We would like to open up ICAO document 8168 Pans Ops Volume 1 Chapter Holding, and you'll see that a offset entry is the term used for the teardrop entry. Once you've seen it in the document, you'll never confuse the two again. Now we highly advise you to watch the video by Joe on how to determine the holding entries. The link to the video is right here. And you'll get a few more practice examples to calculate holding entries using your thumb.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, buddy. So this question asks for the number of the transition level. Pilots need to know the transition level since it defines the upper boundary of the transition layer, which is the vertical band in which descending aircraft are flying with their altimeters being reset to Q and H again, while aircraft in climb will have already switched to standard pressure setting, having passed the transition altitude and therefore the lower boundary of this layer. So this layer is the only region where aircraft using different altimeter settings are flying.
So answer D is nonsense because we are descending and not climbing. So more on that in a second.
Answer C is incorrect, since the crew needs to know the lowest flight level first before they can actually descend below it. Keep in mind that the question does not ask when to set the altimeter in accordance with the transition level, but when to obtain the transition level itself.
Answer A is too vague. Sometimes you don't even fly in arrival routing and the question arises, when does an arrival procedure start? With the approach briefing or the top of descent, or when you've read the approach checklist, etc. So you can rule this one out.
So answer B is the most correct answer. Also, with Warnbig or other approach-related mnemonics, it is usually being taught that weather and ATC, so listening to the ATIS, which often includes the transition level, need to be obtained before reaching the initial approach fix at latest.
Just as a little donkey's bridge to know the difference between a transition level and transition altitude. When you are in a climb, you fly through the transition altitude. Why am I doing this gesture? This is a A in the transition altitude, which looks like an arrow pointing upwards. And vice versa, when you are in a descent through the transition level, the V in level is an arrow pointing downwards. Thank me later. On to the next question. Yeah, buddy.
Whether it's your first theory exam, an airline assessment, or just your captain asking nasty theory questions, it's never wrong to possess the best theory knowledge possible. Get access to thousands of real-world ATPL theory questions and detailed explanations with ATPL-Q using the link below.
Okay, this is a little bit of a tricky one, we have to admit, starting with answer A. Now, the thing that I'm missing in the question and in answer A, we don't have any wind information. Now, the crew could have experienced a massive tailwind, which could drastically reduce their range going back to the departure airport. So let's rule out A due to lack of information.
Similar situation for answers C and D. We don't have any further weather trend information of either airport, meaning the weather could drop below minima, considering the time you still have to fly to either airport. In addition to that, the crew would only have 20 minutes of remaining fuel when reaching airport B, and even less at airport A with 10 minutes remaining, which is hardly enough to commence a missed approach or further diversion.
So answer B is the most applicable according to the decision making by Sarah. Now, Sarah emphasizes making decisions that prioritize the immediate safety of the flight. Now, given the critical fuel situation, the proximity and visible runway at airport C provide an immediate opportunity to land, despite the weather being below minimum. Now, furthermore, by declaring a distress situation, the flight crew communicates the severity of the situation, which allows for more flexibility in adhering strictly to standard minimum requirements if it means ensuring the safety of the flight.
So to conclude, the flight crew should opt to land at airport C despite the weather being below approach minima. And here's why. Proximity. Being close to airport C reduces the time in the air, which is crucial given the limited fuel. Runway visibility. Visible runway lights indicate that despite the below minima weather, a visual landing might still be feasible. And the stress situation. In an emergency, regulatory framework allow for deviations from standard procedures to ensure safety.
So given the declared distress situation and critical fuel state, landing at Airport C in this scenario is the safest choice. Yeah, buddy.
So for this question, we have to take yet another look into the ICAO document 8168 PANS Ops, which states in chapter 1.3, wherever track guidance is provided in the design of a procedure, each segment comprises a specified volume of airspace, the vertical cross-section of which is an area located symmetrically about the center line of each segment. The vertical cross-section of each segment is divided into primary and secondary areas. Full obstacle clearances are applied over the primary areas, reducing to 0 at the outer edges of the secondary areas. On straight segments, the width of the primary area at any given point is equal to 1/2 of the total width. The width of each secondary area is equal to 1/4 of the total width. In addition to that, the document provides an appendix which exactly depicts figure D. I think we can all agree that figure A and C are nonsense, and I also understand if figure B causes confusion since mathematically speaking, it depicts the same dimensions shown in figure D. But since figure D is the exact same as in the PANS Ops document, only this answer can be correct.
We hated to break it to you, but this is one way you have to memorize the picture of the different areas. That's a casual, yeah, buddy. Okay,
yeah,
good. Yeah, buddy. Okay, good.
We hope our problem-solving methods were clear and our sketches and explanations were helpful.
If you want us to tackle more of these challenging questions, use the link below to get your ATPL-Q subscription and start practicing right away. Notify ATPL-Q via email which question you'd like us to do a video on, and they will forward your request to us. The team of ATPL-Q is always there to help and answer your questions, and the question you struggle the most with might be the next one we're going to be answering in a video. And on that bombshell, here is your checklist for today. Subscribe to my channel, check. Activate the notification bell, check. Follow my Instagram account, check. And click the link below to start learning with ATPL-Q today, check. And don't forget, a good pilot is always learning and the best candidates come well prepared. Wishing you all the best, Fabian and Captain Joe.
1, 2.